Maryland governor signs Senate Bill number 1 restricting where firearms can be carried, but the citizenry is protesting against it. Welcome to another installment of the Connecticut Gun Bench. Today's video is brought to you by P.A.N. Firearms, LLC. P.A.N. Firearms for your NRA certification and multifaceted gun training. You can reach us at 203-300-6343 or use our website at www.panfirearmsllc.com. As always, there'll be a link in the description box below. And if you like my channel, like my content and what I do here, you can support me with the link in the description box. Everything is appreciated. But let's talk about this now. This actually went down. Let's make sure we get our details correct here. Okay, May 16th, the governor of Maryland signed into law Senate Bill number 1. What Senate Bill number 1 does is restricts where people can carry a handgun specifically. Now, this was in response to a shooting that happened at the Great Mills High School in the same, obviously in Maryland. And the governor's response is to, once again, and this is the response of all these people, there's no logic to it. It's run on pure emotion, and always the suggestion and the answers they come up with is to make laws that only the law-abiding will follow, while the criminal element gets to run buck wild in the streets. So he signed this in response, claiming that, you know, this is to prevent this from happening again. Just keep in mind the shooter at the Great Mills High School was 17 years old. So immediately under federal and state law, he technically should not have had a firearm or been able to carry it. But once again, this is not about logic or anything else. But what is happening in response to this is citizens in specific areas are starting to protest by walking around open carrying. I want to go ahead and play this clip here from a local affiliate for context. Let's go ahead and watch that.
I'm not just out here carrying because I can. I'm carrying because they're trying to take away the right to.
Reports of an armed man in Severn has residents on edge for days in Anne Arundel County. Now Governor Wes Moore is speaking out on that situation. Fox 25's Vincent Hill has more on why the governor's comments may have sparked more armed people to show up in protest of Senate Bill 1. Vincent, what did you find out?
Yeah, Kaya, back and forth between the governor and a man who says he's just standing up for his rights, now leading to several people with guns around school-age kids. In Severn, concerns of a man armed with an AR-15 as kids are getting off the bus.
It was just chaos. He was standing at the bus stop talking to the children. They all ran off.
But it's not a threat of an active shooter, and he's doing it right in front of police while they can't do anything about it.
All these cops here, somebody else is in real danger right now. You know that, right?
Jaden McAdory legally carrying a rifle and protesting Senate Bill 1. Signed into law by Governor Wes Moore on Tuesday. McAdory telling Fox 45 he's reached out to the governor personally.
I mean, I tried reaching out to him. I sent him an email. He didn't respond.
However, the governor responding in a statement about the protest, which reads in part, "We need partnership, not shallow acts of cowardice and intimidation."
I think his comments draw a lot of attention to it.
Political analyst John Deedy says the governor's response, which appears personal, will only add fuel to the fire.
And I think, you know, that can create a situation where all of a sudden you have other people in other communities deciding, I'm going to try the same type of action.
That's exactly what happened. McAdory joined by another man armed with a shotgun.
What are they doing? What are they doing?
And across the street,
I came out here with my weapon to be the anti-version of what they are.
Louis Bracey says he's a sensible gun owner, protesting what McAdory is doing.
These are weapons designed for war. Weapons of war to kill multiple people.
Fox 45 asking Bracey what makes him any different while being armed in public since Senate Bill 1 is now law.
I only have 9 rounds here.
You can do a lot of damage with 9 rounds.
If I was out here to do some purpose.
Meanwhile, McAdory says he's not intimidated by the governor's comments and will continue to exercise his right to carry while he can.
If he wants to talk to me, he can. But I mean, until he knows the full story, I don't want to hear nothing he has to say.
Now, it should be noted that even once Senate Bill 1 goes into effect, he can actually still carry that AR because Senate Bill 1 focuses on wear and carry, which involves handguns. For now, we're live in Baltimore. Vincent Hill, Fox 45 News.
Vincent, thank you. While you no longer need to submit a reason to obtain a wear and carry license in Maryland following a Supreme Court decision, the process of obtaining one is still pretty comprehensive. It includes registering online with the state. All of this comes from Vincent. He says you also have to submit fingerprints, go through 16 hours of training with state police or a qualified handgun instructor. It's 8 additional hours for renewal. After that, you also need to provide a passport-style photograph. And then there's the fee, $75 for new applicants, $50 for renewal or subsequent licenses. Well, one of the biggest criticism of Senate Bill 1 is that it doesn't apply to anyone who gains access to their guns illegally. While legal gun owners have to jump through several hoops and pay hundreds of dollars, illegal guns are often obtained for next to nothing. Law enforcement analyst Melissa Pinkleton says the majority of guns used in crimes were obtained within minutes.
They're stealing them from vehicles. They're stealing them from stores, smash and grabs. They are committing crimes with guns that are acquired in an illegal manner to begin with. And it's a huge, huge problem.
Well, that brings us to our question of the day. Do you believe Senate Bill 1 will have an impact on crime? So far, 92% of those who voted say no. You can make your voice heard by going to voxbaltimore.com/vote.
Okay, you heard that and you saw that. Now, what's interesting, and I'm going to come right over here, is the fact that in Maryland, in response, just as New York did, remember New York when NYSRPA versus Bruen was finalized and the decision was made, New York started making very onerous laws on where you could carry a firearm. Maryland is doing the same thing in response because, once again, they're claiming that the Supreme Court has weakened their concealed carry laws, which is a bunch of nonsense. The Supreme Court is not saying you should weaken your laws. It's saying that your process to obtain a permit is too strict. That's all it was about. But I'm going to come over here real quick. There's armed citizen battles with Governor Wes Moore about Senate Bill 1. That's the gentleman that you saw in the video. Governor Wes Moore signed Senate Bill into law Tuesday. The bill greatly limits where legal gun owners who have a wear and carry permit can legally carry the guns. Immediately after the NRA filed this lawsuit. Now, a Severn man is protesting the law in a different way. Jaden McCarty has been walking the streets of his neighborhood armed with an AR-15. Quote, "I'm not banning any carry. I don't think people know that you can openly carry an AR," said McCarty. Now, remember, this Senate Bill 1 is strictly based on handguns. Word of his protest reached the office of Governor Wes Moore, and the governor responded in a statement which appears to personally attack McCarty. Quote, "To stem the tide of gun violence and create safer, stronger communities, we need partnership, not shallow acts of cowardice and intimidation," said Governor Moore. Well, I'm telling you that signing this bill into law was an act of cowardice because you're not addressing the problem. A 17-year-old bought a handgun to school. Okay? Signing this law is not going to prevent it. Okay? There's already a law in place saying you can't bring the gun to the school. Yet that didn't work. Yet he wants more restrictions on where you can carry. So he's the one playing the coward game. Sorry. That's just the way I play it, the way I see it and play it. But McCarty has been protesting near a school bus stop and in close proximity to schools. Quote, "Scaring our kids and threatening our communities won't help make Maryland safer," said Governor Moore. Yeah, okay. This guy is scaring the kids, but some child who somehow got hold of a handgun coming into the school and shooting at people. No. That's not going to be a problem. Now, you heard this guy, political analyst John Deedy says the governor's comments may have regretful consequences. Quote, "The concern with drawing attention to it is it leads other people to do copycat kind of stuff," said Deedy. On Friday, McCarty was joined by another man armed with a shotgun protesting Senate Bill 1. But there's the governor's statement right here. But I'm not even going to get into his words because he's just a Democrat playing a Democrat role. But here's the thing. Obtaining a permit in Maryland is a process. It's a long and costly process. And I want to play this video here to give you an idea for those of you who don't have to deal with it. being from Connecticut, I see this up front, but I want to go ahead and play that so you can get an idea of what the cost and how long it takes and the problems that people have with it. Just go ahead and watch that.
Fox 45's Vincent Hill looks into the cost of being able to get a gun legally, how long that takes versus the ease of illegal guns ending up on the streets. Vincent?
Yeah, Kai, to get a legal gun, it could cost you in the thousands, but an illegal gun on the street could cost you little to nothing.
Noah Johnson is shopping for his latest gun.
I like the idea of being able to protect me and those I care about.
He's a wear and carry permit holder, but he says the time it took to get his permit was too long and put him at risk of being a victim of Baltimore's crime. He had to take a 16-hour class, which took him months to complete because of his schedule. And the total cost for Noah to legally carry in the hundreds.
Altogether, about $400.
But the price tag to carry doesn't include the license Maryland requires for a person to legally purchase a gun.
You would have to have what's called a Maryland Handgun Qualification License, or HQL. The prints, depending on where you go, going to cost you in the ballpark of $60. 4-hour class for an HQL is going to end up costing you about $180 on average. The application fee for the HQL is $50. $290.
So, how much money is being spent and what's the wait time for criminals who have guns?
I'd say very little, possibly even none.
Like the gun at the center of an officer-involved shooting, stolen, according to BPD, and ending up in the hands of a 17-year-old juvenile, a frustrating reality for legal gun owners.
Heard that and you saw that. Now see, with all the permitting process in place, the money you have to pay, the time you have to spend, all of these processes in place, yeah, here's a 17-year-old running around with a handgun. Yeah. But this is the frustration with all of these things. And it's not just Maryland, it's all over the country. It's specifically New York, Connecticut, so forth, and California, what have you. Their only answer to violent crime is gun control. That's it. These are the same people who run around screaming, defund the police. Yet they only have one view when it comes to violence. They segregate it into groups, making gun violence the most important thing on the planet because being killed any other way doesn't matter. Then they make laws that don't address the criminal element, that only address the law abiding. That's how it's done. So we'll see what happens because the New York, the restrictions on New York, I've already gone through, they're going through the courts now, and I believe they already took a hit already with a judge saying, no, you can't do that. Just arbitrarily restrict areas based on, sensitive areas is what they were calling them. One judge has already jumped in and kind of put a kibosh on it, so it's going to move forward. This is going to probably end up being the same thing. I don't know what judge they're going to bring it to first, but it's going to go through the process. But immediately, it's unconstitutional because you're restricting a right based on an arbitrary definition of what a sensitive area is. So we'll see how it plays out. Once again, expect more of this because, like I said, I've said over and over again, the Bruen decision has the Democrats in a panic. And we got gun cases coming up to the Supreme Court where Bruen has been the foundation for an overturning of the law that's being challenged. So this is just another panic move because this bill that this Governor Wes Moore has signed is not going to prevent gun violence. It's going to restrict good people from being able to protect themselves in certain parts of the state, in certain areas. So, but let me know what you think. As always, you can leave your comments in the comment section below. And as always, any statements of violence or statements that lead to violence will be removed. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you're notified the next time a video goes live. I will see you on the next one. Peace.